Hey, Once on Three Flowers podcast. I told you all we were going live today, and I have Casandra joining me, so just give me one moment. Okay. So we're waiting on Casandra to join. How is everyone doing today? Really excited to be able to come live. Here's Casandra. Looks like she's about to join us. So we're just waiting 1 second. Get her on the line so you can see both of us together. Um, all right, so we're waiting on her. Oh, it looks like here she's coming on the line.
Hey.
Hey,
How are
good.
you?
How are you doing?
Good. Y'all have to excuse me. I got my anime twisting today.
Yes, anime twist. Yes. I'm so happy that you're able to come on. You're our feature of the week. So it's exciting to be able to have you come on. I'm going to wait for just a few moments to see if anybody else joins the line with us.
Sure. How are you doing, by the way?
Oh man, I am doing pretty well. I feel like I've been working. And then on top of
Mhm.
that, we just have so much going on as a nation and then even more so in community. So it's just like, woo,
Yeah.
it's like you trying to
Yeah.
take a moment to have a breath of fresh air. You know what I mean? So that we don't feel like we're
Yeah.
drowning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
How are you feeling?
Hey, Shanola. I feel much better today than I did a week ago.
Okay.
And I think it's because this week I practiced take a pause for the cause, and
Yes.
I, I was pulling in all the tools.
You have to though.
I gotta pull.
Sometimes, right? You got to pull out every tool out of that box.
That's every tool in that toolbox coming out this week, boy.
Yeah, sometimes every tool. Hey, Tracy. Sometimes every tool in that toolbox has to come out. The self-care
Hmm.
practices are so rare right now.
Hmm.
And having to be unapologetic about like, hey, I need some time. I need space for me. Especially with
Yes,
us, like we're in service-based businesses, but still
yes,
needing to remember that our first line of service is for us.
yeah, exactly,
Mhm.
exactly,
Mhm. Yeah. So I'm
exactly.
excited because, your episode went live this week and it was amazing. So thank you for joining our
Thank you,
podcast.
thank you for
Yeah.
having me.
Absolutely. So, everyone who's listened to the episode knows that you are focused on growth. And so
Hmm.
I know right now it probably feels like, man, it's probably feeling a little bit hard for some to want to grow when we're dealing with so much emotionally. And so,
Yeah,
um, I'm just wondering, like,
yeah.
how are you servicing? I know you talked about your pause for the calls. Hi, Delisa. But how are you also making sure that, like, you're helping to service your clients right now during this time when we have so much systematic racism going on and we're still
Yeah.
coming out of a national crisis?
Um, for one, is practicing what I preach
Mm-hmm.
for myself.
Right.
Because if I'm no good, then I can not be any good for anyone else. And so I have really gotten intentional about um, really owning the fact that I am a leader, and that
Mm-hmm.
that comes with a responsibility, and to not take that lightly. And so I've really been reflecting this week on what does that look like to be a leader in my community, in my business, online, in my personal life, and really stepping into that and doing what is required of me to first make sure that Casandra is mentally well, emotionally well, so that I can show up as my best self. And
Mm-hmm.
what that has been looking like for me is literally pulling out all the toolbox, like all the tools, like we just said, out the toolbox. Tapping, praying, meditating, devotionals, journaling, reaching out and talking to people, exercise. I mean, when I tell you, whatever I can think of, I've
You're
been
pouring
doing
it
it.
out. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so what I'm doing is, as I pour into me, then I'm pouring back out, and I'm showing up online. in my social media platforms. I am servicing my people. I've been reaching out to my clients and asking them, how are you doing? And just really being intentional on pouring into myself and pouring back out. And I really believe that that's reflective of the law of reciprocation, right? Like when we get poured into, it's not for us to just hold on to it and harness it and be selfish with it. I believe the purpose of us as leaders pouring into ourselves is so that there's this constant flow of pouring into ourselves so we can pour out to others. So really it's been me making sure I am really being intentional about pouring into me and then pouring that good energy, that love, that peace, that joy right back into others.
Right. I just saw Jalinda join. So hi, Jalinda. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, lady.
Hey. So yeah, I mean, I love that you're saying that about really making sure that you're making time for that, because I think that sometimes we're in this space of like this, we have like a warfare happening with our like community.
Yes.
And so people feel like they have to
Yeah.
apologize for taking a pause. But you're saying, no, don't apologize for that if that's what you're needing.
No, because even like if we want to get scriptural with it, like Christ, how many times did he go away in private and go in private, get poured into, and then go back out to the masses? And I believe that those of us who are leaders, we have to be intentional right now more than ever. I just made a post today about people who are leaders to post and get off.
Yes.
Preserve your peace, protect your peace, because it's so easy to get trapped in scrolling. I've been guilty of it. You get trapped in scrolling, and before you know it, you have watched a video. You have got. I got caught up in a few negative, nasty conversations with some white women this week, and I said, "Oh, that's when I realized, Casandra, step back.
Right.
Step back." Because those are not who you're supposed to be serving. There's someone else called to those people. That's not your. And it's another thing is know your lane. What are you supposed to be doing in this season? Because we all have a part to play right now. I know you're big into self-care and wellness. I'm big into self-care, wellness, and generational trauma and healing. Somebody else may be big into politics. Somebody else may be big into the media. We all have a part to play, and it's knowing what is your role and being in your lane. And the moment where we want to start dipping into other lanes, that's when you start feeling tired. That's when you start feeling drained, because that's not your lane. My lane is not politics. I'm not going to get over here and get in a political debate with someone. That's not my lane. My lane is, Casandra, pour into yourself so you can pour into others and make sure that they are emotionally, mentally well. That is my lane. So focusing on that, I think, is how I help myself to know I am contributing. And I'm helping my community by making sure they're emotionally and mentally stable and well during this time.
I love that. Stay in your lane. Jalinda says she just was talking to her group about this. I believe that comment came through when you were talking about making your post and getting off, right? And I know that we feel like we have to stay engaged with people all the time, but it's overwhelming. I'll be transparent. I've been tagged in a lot of posts, and I'm like, man, like this is a great post. I want to comment, but I just can't right now. Like I just can't, because I'm trying to practice that same pause that you're talking about. And even sometimes this week, okay, my phone is going to die. Great. Let it die. You know, let my phone.
Like, thank you.
Thank you. That means that I'm going to disconnect from everyone, you know?
Let's see. Coach, is it Jalinda? She said, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too.
Yeah. Rest is not silence. We need to replenish to tap into our power. Absolutely, Jalinda.
It's that part right there. I love that.
I'm finger snapping.
Rest is not. I'm telling you, and if I can be honest with you, because I have been an activist in my own right. For those who don't know, I spent 12 years working in the very system that everyone is fighting against right now. I worked in the criminal justice system. I worked with juvenile adult offenders. And so I often felt like I had two jobs. I was working with my clients, but I was also advocating for them. I was speaking up and out against the racial injustice that I saw, the systematic oppression. I spoke out against judges. I spoke out against police officers, and I put my job on the line as a single mom all the time. I used to have colleagues come up to me and say, Casandra, you're going to get fired if you don't stop. And I said, well, I'll sue them. Like, that's how I was very big on speaking out. And so right now in the season I'm in, because I'm no longer working in that system, I was starting to feel a level of guilt because I'm not in that same role speaking out internally like I used to.
Right.
And so that was another reason why I wanted to kind of pull back and reflect and just, what is my role right now? Because I do believe we all have a role. And so that's why I believe if you are getting caught up in social media and you're not quite sure what your role is, then pull back some and reflect and pray and ask for divine guidance. Like, what is my role in this season? How can I serve a greater purpose right now to give back? Because you're not going to find it in a post. You're not going to find it arguing with a troll on social media.
These internet thugs.
Yeah, so you gotta pull back.
People who want to say stuff to you on social media that they would never say in your face. Absolutely. I love that. And I think that it's really important, like you said, when you know your lane, you know how you're showing up. So for me, like being in self-care and wellness, maybe I'm supporting people with their mental or emotional or, health in that way, but that doesn't mean that I have to be like right there on the forefront, putting all the posts up and talking about how angry I am as it relates to this. Yes. But healing my people, healing women, is definitely a form of activism as well, right?
It sure is, because you're not just healing them, you're healing the ancestors. I believe that with every fiber in my being, that the work we are doing is so much deeper than we even realize. We're not just healing the women we have direct contact with. We are healing the traumas that were passed down from our ancestors. So what we do is necessary, it's needed, and it does serve a purpose even in times like this.
Absolutely. Three Ladies on a Vine says, yes, you can get emotionally invested in all the media, social media posts, negative comments you see online and become depressed. You have to step back for your own mental health.
Yes.
Tracy says, showing up as the fullest expression of ourselves as leaders means doing the inner work and getting support consistently. Nice to meet you, Casandra.
Nice to meet you too, Tracy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's so important.
It's so important. And I think that that's something that really needs to be talked about, even that inner work, because the inner work is not just from like us right here in our present bodies. But I heard someone say the uprising, some of that uprising is that ancestral blood, that trauma that has been passed down, that's very much present in our lives today. And it's manifesting in our outrage of how we're continuously being treated.
Yes, yes. Just how people are speaking out against systematic racism and the generational lineage of white supremacy. I feel like us as a people, it rings true for the generational trauma. What's that quote that says, the wound may not be your fault, but the healing is your responsibility?
Come on, that's one of mine.
We are responsible for healing.
Yeah.
They're responsible for eradicating the racism. We're responsible for the healing. And I think if we all do our part, then we may see some change. But that's why I've been really trying to just stay focused on my lane.
Right.
Because I can easily get pulled into the other part because I worked in that system for so long. And I found myself wanting to go there. And I said, Casandra, that was that season. This is the season you're in now. Stay in your lane. And as a result of me doing that, I see the peace, the heaviness has been falling away, because I feel like I'm getting more and more into alignment with what I should be doing right now, instead of worrying about all the other moving parts, because there's no way we could all do all the things.
Right.
That's why we all have our own purpose.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I know you talked about focusing on the growth, or on our healing, but sometimes it is hard to focus on healing, just holding space for that truth. It's hard to focus on healing when things continue to happen. It's like I heal and then I see something else, and then I heal and then I see something else. So, part of the system is part of, what's holding us up from healing.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Coach Delinda says, it's the women who are capable of affecting the most change that are also the most susceptible to exhaustion and burnout. Self-care is self-preservation. Honey, listen, when I tell you that burnout, that was why I got out of the system,
Right.
because I got shingles in my early 20s or early 30s, because I was fighting against everything. I was always calling people out and filing reports to the Department of Human Rights about stuff I saw. And it was to the point where my therapist and doctor was like, Casandra, you need to change your career, because it was making me physically ill. And I was like, okay, let me get up out of this hole.
Right.
So that burnout is real.
That burnout is real.
I've experienced it.
Yeah, it is real. And then also with us being in this line of work, just being empathic people, whether we're talking about by work or just by spirit, you know, you can really, if you're on social media, you can really be taking in a lot of energy and a lot of emotion that is coming, that's not just necessarily happening in your physical body, but what you're pulling in and feeling from other people. And so that like disconnecting is really important, just so you can kind of like sit in the space of your own energy and not feel the energy of the collective all the time so intensely.
Yes. Yeah. That's why I think the pulling back so necessary, because we can go into a space and instantly absorb. And so right now, I mean, I just think we're at the peak of 2020 so far. I don't even know what's to come yet, but I feel like COVID was nothing compared to what's happening now. And I'm just realizing more and more, we really have to learn that when is it time to show up and be present? When is it time to pull back? When is it time to show up, be present? When is it time to pull back? And really, like, as you were talking about with growth, I feel like this 2020 is a growth year if people can shift their perspective and see it that way.
Yeah.
Because none of us came into 2020 expecting anything that has happened. But isn't that what growth is all about? You get uncomfortable, you get stretched, you have to surrender, you are having to shift your perspective. To me, that is what growth looks like. We are in the middle of growth, and it's are people willing to see it that way, so that we can actually experience the real transformation that growth can give to us if we can see the beauty in what's happening. And I see it. I see, like, I'm glad this is happening. I'm glad races are being exposed. I'm glad that social media and camera phones exist so people can see what has always been happening behind closed doors. Like, yes, it sucks that it's still happening, but I'm so glad it's being exposed. I'm glad people are being exposed. And I'm hoping maybe we are in a time where in our lifetime, we can see the change that our ancestors were working so hard for.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Self-care, Tracy says self-care is sacred. It's tending to the deepest parts of our soul. And Jalinda says holding space for yourself. Totally agree with you, Casandra. Yes. Yeah, so absolutely. I just wanted to make sure we got on here because, again, I know that you were our newest episode. I'm sorry, something was in my eye. Episode 68. And
wow, awesome.
Yes,
8 is my number.
Is it? Oh my goodness! Well, look at that! Look at that!
8, that is so cool.
That's your number.
8 is my number.
That I love that.
If I tell you all the ways the number 8 is linked to me, it is crazy.
Listen, we have people on here who love numerology, so if you want to share, feel free. The Wholesome Doula just joined us, so thank you to the Wholesome.
Well, sure. So I was born on the 26th, so obviously 6 plus 2 is 8. My son was born on the 8th month of the year. I met the mister on the 8th month, on the 8th day of the year. I'm trying to think what else comes to mind. It keeps coming up. And then every time 8 happens on the 8th day or it's like something, it's almost to the point where I expect it. I'm like, okay, what's going to happen today? Look, I got 4 days. Something magical and miraculous is going to happen.
I love that. Yes.
I really think it's about like new beginnings, and that's what I embrace it as. So.
Yeah, numerology is a real thing, and I'm happy that that divinely happened. So yes, she's episode 68, How to Grow Through It. So if you're looking for ways to grow through it, make sure you check out that episode. She is a growth coach. So if you're needing that, how can people contact you? I can go ahead and put in the contact for ways that people can connect with you for growth strategies.
Sure. If you go to my bio, there are different tabs where you can either connect with me for a discovery call. I am also launching season 2 of my 8-week, look, number 8 again, I didn't even realize it till just now, online group coaching program that starts Monday. It comes with a digital workbook, pre-recorded trainings, and then live coaching Q&A calls. I always see 444, 3 ladies on a vine. Yes. And then 1111 has been showing up a lot lately too.
Meaning you're on the right path.
Yeah. But I appreciate you having me and letting me share with your community.
Absolutely. You are so welcome. So make sure you connect with Casandra. And then also, guys, I just have to remind you that this is the 1 week left for also for the inner child healing program. So if you're needing to do some of that inner work that Casandra just mentioned, I'm taking pre-registration for our One Sun, Three Flowers community. So make sure you visit over there, and you can sign up for the inner child healing program. And we have some freebies connected to that as well. So it has been great being on here with you, Casandra. I love talking to you. We hit it off from the beginning.
I know.
So
I'm looking forward to your Waistbeads class.
Yes, yes. The Waistbeads class is happening Juneteenth. So anyone looking to join us on that Waistbead class, make sure you sign up because next Friday is the last day to register. All right. So you all have a wonderful Friday, and Casandra, we'll talk beyond this.
I know. You have a good one. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.